Welcome back everyone. In the last lecture, we learned about string indexing. We learned what is a positive indexing and what is a negative indexing. Now let us move on to the next cool feature of Python that is called string slicing. So what is string slicing? Basically, string slicing is a process of getting the substring from a given string. Or in simple words, you can say creating a substring. Okay? Let us understand by a small example. Let's say you have a string like this called Indian budget 2020 and you want to fetch a certain information from this string. Let's say I want to get to know what is the year of this budget 2020. So in this small example, the year 2020 is a substring. Similarly, Indian is a substring, budget is a substring. A substrings can be IAN also, a substrings can be BUD also, or it can be including a space also. So basically, any sequence of character which is lying within this range of the full string is a substring. And Python made it very easy when compared to any other programming languages to fetch the substring information. And believe me, this is a very useful feature which you must learn in order to write programs more effectively. Also, in our string introduction lecture, we saw that we cannot modify a string, right? That is, a direct assignment is not possible in a string. For example, if I want to change the letter B to any other character, it is not possible, right? So if I want to say that I want to change my str of let's say 7 equals to, I will say, is A, this is not possible. We get an error, right? Because the strings are immutable. We will explore all these possibilities, what we can do. So let's go ahead and open our Jupyter notebook and see some real-time examples. Alright, so I have the Jupyter notebook open here. Now let's create a new Python file and rename it as a string slicing example. Now I will take the previous example of my str equal to a sequence of character from A to J, that is 10 characters long string. Okay, so this is my 10 characters long string. Now let's assume I want to print all the characters starting from the letter E. So my output should be starting from E all the way down till the end of the string, right? So my output should be something like EFGHIJ. Okay, so EFGHIJ is a substring of the bigger string, right? So because it is a sequence of character which is lying inside the bigger range, so this is a substring. So for this type of things, we can use a string slicing method of Python. Okay, so we will first go through the square bracket, a start, stop, and a step method. I will show you what this method is. This format has a start index, a stop index, and number of steps. That how many characters needs to be jumped or needs to be skipped in order to print a substring. Okay, so let's assume I want to print the characters EFGHIJ, that is a substring of the bigger string. I can write the string name, and then the first parameter in the string slicing is the start index. I want to start the slicing at index 4 because character E is at index 4, and right now I will keep all other two parameters as empty because these are the optional parameters. I will explain you all other parameters also, and then we will go to the combination of all these. So if we run this, we will be getting the result as EFGHIJ. So I will explain you what happens here. So what happens here is we start from the index 4, that is the character E, and go all the way down till the string ends, and the number of steps is 1, that is by default, so it will print me EFGHIJ. Now let's move on to another example. Let's say we have a similar case where we don't want to print till J, we just want the output to be E, F, and G. Okay, so we just want a 3 characters long substring. So here we can use the stop index, that is the second parameter of the string slicing. Now in order to print the characters till G, here is a catch. We have to provide the index till character H. Okay, that is the next character, that is where we want to stop. So it will stop there, it is not going to print that particular character index. Okay, so the index of character H is 7. So the second parameter what I will be giving is 7. So it will be starting at index 4 and it will go until the index 7 is found. It is not going to print the value at index 7, but it will be stopping at index 7. That is what stop index means. Now if we run this, we will get the substring as EFG. Now let's move on to another example and see how the step parameter works in the string slicing. So let's use this example itself. Now here my string slicing starts from index 4, okay? Right now I am not giving any value for the stop index, so my stop index value is empty. That means it will go all the way till the last of the string. I will keep the step index as 2, okay? Remember, the step index by default is 1, okay? So if we just give 1 here, we will get the same output as the output 1, okay? But now here I am going to give the step index as 2. Now when we run this, what we are going to get is E, G and I, okay? I'll tell you how it comes. So we are starting at index 4, that is E, so the value E gets printed. Then we are moving 2 steps, okay? So we are skipping the first character after E, so we are skipping F and we print G, okay? Again from G onwards, another second character is printed, so another second character from G is I, okay? Now when it's calculated from I, another second character from I is nothing, okay? So the string ends, so the final output is EGI. Now let's say I want to use all these three together. For example, I want to start at index 1 and I want to go all down until index 8, okay? So index 8 will anyways not going to be printed, but I am going to take a step of 2. So what happens when I run this, I get an output as BDFH, okay? Right, so it starts from index 1. So the index 1 is having a value of B, so B gets printed. Now again it jumps 2 character and prints D, again it prints F, again it prints H, okay? So it stops after that, right? Why it stops? Because I is at index 8, so anything beyond 8 is not going to get printed, okay? So this is how start, stop and step works. So this is how string slicing works. So let's go ahead and create another example. I will keep the same string, and here I will give you an example of how a string reverse works, and I will show you how the calculation works in a string reverse. So the formula is simple. When you just write the slicing values as colon colon minus 1, it will print you the exactly same opposite string of the original string. I will explain you how this formula is working internally. So here there are 3 parameters, right? So the first parameter is the start index, the second parameter is the stop index, and the last one is the number of steps. So as you can notice, I am keeping the start and the stop index as empty, so it goes with the default value. But the number of steps, I am keeping it as a negative value, right? I am giving it as -1. Okay, so let's understand in the notepad how the indexing is working here and how it is reversing my actual string. So my start index will by default be 0. My stop index will go until string ends, all right? And I have given the step value as -1, okay? Now here is the calculation, how the reverse works, all right? So the first character that is going to get printed or that is going to be a part of the substring will have this formula. The formula is current index plus number of steps, all right? So at the first iteration, the value of current index is considered as empty or 0. And the number of steps what we have given is -1, right? So the result is -1, right? 0 minus 1 is -1, and -1 index represents the last character of the string, that is J, all right? Now since we moved on to -1, the current index becomes -1, okay? So the value of current index is -1, all right? Now the second character that is going to get printed will also have the same formula, current index plus number of steps. Now my current index is -1 and number of steps is -1. So the result will be equal to -2. -2 index represents I, all right? And soon after that, current index value gets updated to -2, all right? Now similarly, the third character will be current index is -2 and plus -1, that is the number of steps that we have given. Now the result will be -3, all right? Character at the index -3 is H, all right? Similarly, it goes for all the characters. And after this -10 index or the character A, there is no any other character found. That is -11th index is empty, so it will stop there and it will print you the reverse of the string. Alright, now let's move on to another example. We have something called slice method in Python, okay, and I'll show you how it works. Let's say you have multiple strings. Let's say I already have one string called mystr which starts from A and go till J. I will have my new string. Let's say it is hello world. All right. Now instead of doing slicing like this, you can actually create slice objects, right? Slice objects can be created using this slice constructor, and this is how we can create it. Let's say I have slice one object. I'll name it as s1, all right, and I have to say slice, and I will take this example which starts from index 1 and stop at index 8 with a step of 2, all right. So here I have to separate them by comma, so 1 comma 8 comma 2, okay. So this also follows the same parameters. The first parameter is the start parameter, the second is the stop parameter, and the last one is the number of steps, right? So in this slice constructor, the first parameter is the start index, the second parameter is the stop index, and we are taking 2 steps, right? So when we just run this, and let's see what the type of this s1 is. So we can use the type function here. So here s1 is of the type slice, okay. So let's see how we can use it, okay. So let's say I have one string mystr and another string my new str, okay, and both the strings I want to follow the same rule. So my substring should start from the index 1 and it goes until the index 8 is caught, and it should step 2 times. It should have 2 steps characters. Now I want this rule to be followed for both the strings. So how can I do it? So I can just say print mystr s1, all right, and notice I am giving another string here. So I'll say my new str of s1, and both of them will print me different values. So you can see the first value that be from our previous example, it's bdfh for this string, and for this new string hello world also we are following the same rule. So this rule is basically defined by this slice object. Similarly, we can have other rules. We can have multiple slice objects, like I can say it starts from index 0 and goes till index 4 and take a step of 1, and similarly as per our requirement. So there are multiple ways how we can use the string slicing. So I hope now you guys are clear with the string slicing mechanism in Python. If you like the videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. In the next lecture, we will learn about different inbuilt string functions in Python. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thank you all for joining, and see you in the next lecture.